1039 Ally News Radio presents Meet the Candidates with Jay Oliver.
And welcome, 1039 Ally News Radio. I'm Jay Oliver, and I have the pleasure of having Miss Donna Lent with us, who is vying for a seat in Brookhaven as county clerk, a member of the Independence Party.
Yes.
But being cross-endorsed by the Republican Party. Welcome aboard.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Jay.
County clerk is a position that I think a lot of people kind of scratch their heads over. Exactly what is a town clerk? What do they? I know they're responsible for records, but there's more to it.
There's a lot more to it, actually. We like to think of the town clerk's office really as the heart of the town because we deal most with the residents that come in on a daily basis. The town clerk's responsibilities include keeping an accurate record of all town board proceedings, which we do. And it also serves as the registrar for the town that takes care of all the vital records, marriage, birth, death, anything that happens within the town of Brookhaven. And in addition to a whole host of different licensing and permitting actions that we're responsible for. So
you're responsible for all meetings, whatever transpires in those meetings, records-wise. You have to have a pretty much an accurate...
Official town board meetings, town board work session, and also for public hearings.
Interesting. Now, you worked under a woman who was very popular as an assemblywoman.
Yes.
In Pat Eddington. I remember Pat. I interviewed her years ago.
Yes.
Give us a little idea about Pat Eddington and your workings with her.
Well, I started with Pat from her very first day as an assembly member. Matter of fact, worked to help get her elected, and have served as her chief of staff for both her district office, which in the 3rd Assembly District it was, and Patchogue and Medford. We had 2 offices, we had moved during the years. But and her district office in Albany as well.
Interesting. Now, was there a lot of trepidation on your end, or was it this kind of an easy decision?
Well,
as we close in here,
Pat Eddington decided to retire at the end of the year. Her husband Jack, a former Suffolk County legislator, retired last year.
Right.
And it really, I thought long and hard about it. Had a lot of encouragement, especially from even our staff at the town clerk's office. I've been doing the day-to-day running the operation at Town Hall for the nearly 4 years that I'm there. And I really am the most qualified, logical person to do that job after Pat. So it's going to serve for a nice continuity. No change of administration. New people come in. Sometimes they have new ideas or think they know how things should run. And the staff at the town clerk's office is great. They really do know how to do the day-to-day work that's required of them. And they're pleased because it's going to be continued as usual, the work during the day.
Is getting out there, do you find it interesting? I mean, is getting out there into the communities and telling people who you are and what you've done and working under Pat Eddington. I mean, you're going against an opponent whose name is out there, who was a town board member at one time in Brookhaven, I believe. But as far as Donna Lent is concerned, is it more work just to get the name out there, let people know your affiliation?
Having served with Pat for the last 9 years, while she was an assembly member, we had about 2,000 cases that came through our district office every year. So especially within the 3rd Assembly District, I'm pretty well known. In addition, because I represented Pat at so many community events and meetings, people oftentimes think that I am actually Pat Eddington because they see my face and they connect it with the office. So that's a little comical. It happened today. I was at a senior citizen club meeting around Ronkonkoma, and the club leader said to me, "I know who you are, but I didn't realize that your name was Donna Lent." I said, "Because you thought I was Pat Eddington, didn't you?" And she laughed and said yes. So it is very different in regard to being a candidate rather than being the support staff behind the elected official. That is different from me. But I'm enjoying it, and it's just important to keep out there and talk to people, and which we do daily.
I guess the pressure will really mount as you get closer to November
It will. 5th. It's a little head spinning at times, the schedule, but we're managing. We're managing good.
Has there ever been a case where records were never or weren't kept properly or misplaced maybe in some way where you had to say, oh my goodness. I mean, has there ever been a case like that, or pretty much has everything been according?
Well, what happens with records, we're required to follow procedures set by the State Education Department through SARA, and that's the acronym for State Archives. And there is a record series attached to every document, which tells us how long, the minimum standards for how long we must keep it, the minimum requirements. Sometimes we keep records longer than we're legally bound to, simply because it may have been involved in some sort of, it could be litigation, it could have been an investigation or something like that. We'll hold on to those records longer. But pretty much we try to abide by the guidelines set forth in it's called the MU1 schedule.
Okay.
And once in a while something comes up, but it's usually a result of something had been misfiled. You know, we take custodian of the records from the departments. They're the ones who package them up, box them up, do the inventories, and we have a great person that manages our records center, Cynthia Roma, who does a great job. And has in the past worked under some very adverse conditions. But we have a beautiful building right now that we have our records stored in. Prior to that, they were actually in a cold, damp basement. And Cynthia worked under some harsh conditions, but, you know, we have things pretty much under control now.
What is the oldest date of record that goes back?
1658,
So
I believe.
it goes way back.
Oh, yes, way back.
Okay.
Way back in time.
So everything is kept pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Especially the vital records. They're all permanent records. We have huge books that open to twice that size. And what they would do would be record the birth or the marriage along
Wow.
2 double-wide pages this size.
And what about preservation, though? How is it preserved even from 300-400 years ago?
Well, what's happening is now, since we came to the town clerk's office, they had begun a project. They had put out an RFP to do a scanning initiative to scan all of the town's records. And under Pat Eddington, when she became clerk, the RFP was awarded. And Pat put me in charge of that project. I've been managing the project for her. It's a $6.3 million project. And we have now scanned more than 18 million records. So we have digital images, and we have not discarded any of the paper yet. But the goal is really to eventually be able to provide the digital image as the permanent image. There's a whole process to be able to get approval from New York State to do that. And that's what we're working towards.
Interesting. Donna Lent, it's a pleasure to have you aboard here. Good luck to you on Election Day.
Thank you so much.
Donna Lent, of course, vying for a spot in the Republican Party, actually being cross-endorsed by the Republicans,
Yes.
a member of the Independence Party.
Yes.
For Brookhaven County Clerk.
I'm happy to have the support of the current town clerk, Patricia Eddington, and our supervisor, Ed Romaine, as well.
Pleasure to have you here today. And I'm
Thank
Jay
you.
Oliver for Long Island News Radio 103.9. Have a great day.